Thank you all. Good afternoon. Good to be here. As Michal just said, I have been coming to this remarkable city for 25 years. And over that quarter of a century, it began to occur to me that 700 years, 800 years before Australia or Canada or the United States or New Zealand had even heard the gospel, an itinerary of sanctity was being sketched out here in Krakow. The 11th century bishop Stanisław, whose tomb many of you will visit in Wawel Cathedral during these days, Queen Jadwiga, Saint Queen Jadwiga, whom Michal just mentioned, the contemporary saints who are with us today in their relics. This is a city in which there is 1,000 years of holiness, 1,000 years of young people becoming older people, configuring their lives to God's will for their lives, and becoming the saints that they were made to be. Becoming a saint is not simply our Christian destiny, it's our human destiny. God made us so that we could live with Him forever, and as C.S. Lewis, whom I'm sure many of you have read, once wrote, a saint is someone who can live comfortably with God forever. One of the great saints of this city was Karol Wojtyła, Pope John Paul II. It was my privilege to spend 15 years in conversation with him and 20 years writing his life in the books Witness to Hope and The End and the Beginning. And as you think of his life here in his city, I think it's important to think of him as someone not all that different from you. He was a man graced with many gifts of intellect. He was a great sportsman when he was a young person. He had many talents. But when he walked the streets of Krakow as a student, later as a worker, he was not all that different. He was struggling to find what it was that God had in mind for his life. He was struggling to find his vocation, that unique something that God has in mind for each of us unique somebodies. And as you walk down to the Sanctuary of Divine Mercy in Łagiewnicki, take yourself in your mind's eye back to that young man, Karol Wojtyła, walking that road, that exact same road in the early 1940s, dressed in jeans, wooden clogs, going to work in a chemical factory under this draconian Nazi occupation in which, as he said, you could not be sure whether you would be alive tomorrow morning. Think of him stopping at the chapel in the convent in Łagiewnicki and praying there of an evening or a morning. Think of him pondering in that chapel the question he raised in his own vocational memoir, Gift and Mystery, when he wrote of so many of his friends who had been killed during the war by the Nazi occupiers. Why was I not taken? Why them? Why not me? What was God keeping in mind for me? A few years ago, one of my colleagues, probably known to the Canadians present, Father Raymond D'Souza, said to me, "You know, the 20th century happened in Krakow in a unique way. Here, the people of this city experienced the worst of the 20th century in that 5-year Nazi occupation, and then continued to experience enormous struggle and trial in the communist occupation from 1945 to 1989. Karol Wojtyła lived that with his fellow Krakowians, and he came to understand that those two awful experiences here, in a particular way, had torn great holes in the moral fabric of humanity. If you think of humanity as a beautiful tapestry, 20th century shredded the tapestry. And yet he also came to understand, reflecting back on his experiences of prayer in that convent in Łagiewnicki, that the answer to all of that awfulness, the answer to all of that sorrow and pain and suffering, craziness, had also been given here in Krakow, in the visions of God's mercy radiating from the Sacred Heart of the risen Christ that had been offered to this then completely obscure Polish sister, Maria Faustina Kowalska. John Paul II actually wrote an entire encyclical about all this, the encyclical Dives in Misericordia, Rich in Mercy, but perhaps even more importantly, from a point of view of symbolism, John Paul II lifted up Saint Faustina at her canonization early in the Great Jubilee of 2000 as a door to the 21st century and the third millennium, a door of mercy through which all of us could walk, a door of mercy which she opened up for us because of her openness to these mysterious visions and messages that she was receiving from the Lord. What can we learn from all of this? It's a different time. The city looks very different than it looked 25 years ago or 50 years ago or 70 years ago. I think what we can learn is that through the experience of God's mercy, which opens us up to the experience of God's truth, and the two always go together, mercy and truth, we learn from John Paul II to never give in to the tyranny of the possible. When John Paul II was elected Pope in 1978, everyone said the division of Europe into two hostile camps armed with nuclear weapons, that's just the way things are. He didn't believe that. 11 years later, the Berlin Wall came down. When he was elected Pope in 1978, many churchmen throughout the world, including many bishops, said it's impossible to reach young people today. He didn't believe that, and we're all here because of that, because he created World Youth Day in the conviction that you, like the young people he worked with here in Krakow, want to lead lives of consequence, lives of heroic virtue. In 1978, many seemingly smart people said the Catholic Church is finished as a force in the world. And here we are today, hundreds of thousands of us in Krakow, giving witness to the fact that this church of ours is the real international community of this 21st century. Don't ever give in to the tyranny of the possible. Believe with John Paul II that the truth, spoken clearly enough, persuasively enough, can cut through the static of lies. Believe with John Paul II that solidarity among people can lift us out of the fragmentation of the world, the violence of the world, the hatred of the world, and build a future fit for the sons and daughters of God. Believe that with him, and you can change the world as he did. Thank you.